Hey everyone, this is Magic Lover recording a little Legacy one-on-one action in the tournament practice room. Playing my Genesis Wave deck, and this is an acceptable start. Got a Cradle, a 1, 2, Slime, and an Untapper, so yeah. This should work out well as long as, he doesn't kill everything. We'll see how it flies. For those unfamiliar with the deck, it looks a little like this. Relying on Craterhoof, trying that out now. Generally generating lots of mana with lots of creatures, neither overrunning or beating down with that. So wait for our opponent to make his mulligan decision and start the game. Okay, so we will lean out with our Magus. Which hopefully does not get killed turn 1, since it is pretty crucial, since we don't have a Deserted Temple to untap Cradle. Ponder off a basic island. Betting Show and Tell at this point. I guess it could be High Tide, you just don't see a lot of it online. Show and Tell is a more popular variant, which means I will be holding this until the end, since that is what I want to put into play if he puts Omniscience down. I'm okay with if he uses a Force of Will on this. Not happy about it, but I'd rather get that out of his hand for this. He declines. We'll ping in for 1. Let's see if our opponent puts down a Ancient Tomb, City of Traders. He's going to brainstorm. Let's see what he does. Well, it's a tough decision. That's good. Usually the snap keeps are the ones you fear. Had the fetch for maximum value. Of course. Ooh. Now I'm going to get Ritual. Huh. So maybe it is Storm. Maybe it's Ant or Tess. Boo. Yeah, at least I can get it back. Oh wait, I was confused that with Thoughtseize. Sorry. So unfortunately it looks like it's Storm now. He is definitely going to go off, and I like the new client in that it does the storm count for you, which is nice. I'm going to F6 at this point. Ad nauseum with Storm at 7 and at 18 life. Yeah, I'm betting he'll get it. 9 with Infernal. Yeah, he's lethal at this point. Since Infernal can get Tendrils, he's already got Threshold. This is for giggles. He knows the coast is clear, so he'll probably run it down to 4. If you're somehow unfamiliar with Epic Storm, it relies on, cheap filtering to sculpt your hand, a lot of rituals to build storm count and mana, and then typically ad nauseum to go through a lot of your deck since it costs either 0, 1, or 2. Get the storm count up to at least 10, and then Infernal Tutor for Tendrils. Or, Wish for it. Burning Wish is the other main way to get it. But either way, you get tendrils and drain some life and gain some life. So the full blue one-drop suite of filtering. Lion's Eye Diamond, pretty crucial to the deck because you can sack it and cast the tutor to empty your hand, so it works out pretty well. It can be tricky to play once you learn it. It's a pretty powerful deck since it's blue-black, so you can do a lot of things in terms of stripping away your opponent's defenses and usually post-board bringing a lot of counters to give you inevitability. But it's a solid deck. So yeah, Tendrils of Storm Count, 15. That'll be a good game. Well, the good news is our sideboard is geared up pretty well for this. So, what do we want? We do want Bog. Since going after his, if he goes for the Past in Flame route, it's a good way to get him there. We do want Ley Lines. Slime is relatively useless unless he does something silly like throwing out his petals and diamonds for non-storm count, and that's not his primary line, so we will not count on that. Finks is actually not a bad play to have in here. The reason for that is that sometimes the Enter test will fail on a marginal hand where they get the storm count to, 8, 9, 10. So if we can get a quick turn 2 Finks out, it just pushes the ante up a little bit. And we're on the play, so that'll work. Ooh, this would have everything we want. It's too slow. We'd have to go for a Dryad, hope he doesn't take this out, and then put that out. Yeah, we're going to mull to a no-lander. Suck. We'll mulligan. It's a no-lander, but it does have Ley Line. So as much as I hate this, I will keep the no-lander with no one-drop. So this is pretty much hoping that this stalls him for enough rounds until he gets a Burning Wish to, get a Chain of Vapor and bounce that. If that takes 5 or 6 turns, then great. Yeah, look at your own hand. He'll start sculpting, that's fine. And unfortunately, we couldn't keep our first. It was pretty close. If the first one had a Ley Line in it instead of one of the creatures, that would have been a snap keep, but otherwise too slow. And let's be blunt, Ant is a pretty tier 1 tournament legacy proven deck. That is not what we wanted to draw. And this is just a homebrew, so we're already way behind the ball for getting mulling to 5 for a no-land hand. That just adds a little insult to injury. We will be passing the turn until we draw a land. There we go. We'll take that. I don't have to worry about him duressing, thought seizing any of my stuff away. Let's love to get that Dryad, but I have a feeling that would be tempting fate. What I would have done for a 1-drop, like a Hierarch or something there. Or Magus, that would have been nice. 1-drops, thou hast forsaken me. At least, you know, we're getting the time walk backs that this has provided. Since he's not going to go off until he can find a way to deal with this. So this is just, you know, a stopgap right now. Eventually, you know, he will find a way. He will find a wish or a way main deck to deal with that. And now we're dead. So it's just a race at this point for us to build enough critical mass. It's somewhat handy, actually. Because that does, it's pretty important to keep him off threshold. And that does allow us to cast our library next turn. And since life really doesn't matter. Ooh, look at that! Looks like he did not board in a way to deal with that. I'm sure he will now. And I want that land back in. One less wave. I guess we'll go for the slow beat down here. Probably should have brought Boseiju in. That seemed like a frustrated turn 5 good game. He could have raced that. Wow, seriously? I mean, I don't know if I'd start with 3 ley lines just to... I mean, because... Is he gonna... Did he board in Echoing Truth? That's the big question. If he didn't board in Echoing Truth, this is gonna kill him. So, we'll go for the Rage Quit. And see if he just laughs and quits. Says he can't beat it, and I don't know if he's... if I were in a tournament, I'd keep my mouth shut and extend my hand, but didn't know if he's actually got Echoing Truth out or not in his 75 anywhere. And this is pretty normal. I have 3 Chain of Vapors. That is the typical bounce spell. Although if they're playing a Wish package, you know, typically you'll see at least 1 Echoing Truth, as it's very good at dealing with Belcher and Goblin tokens, things like that. So we're racing 3 Chain of Vapors to my Find a Land. Yeah, Leyline can be pretty brutal. And I draw the 4th. Are you kidding me? I mean, you know, 4 ley lines in the deck, and 3 of my opening 7 were ley lines. Gotta love the shuffler. Draw the 4th. So, I mean, tell me this wouldn't be epic if, you know, he Chain of Vapors 2 of them, and then the turn he goes for the 4th, I've drawn enough white sources to cast the 4th one. That would just be terrible. I get to start discarding unless we find one of the 24 lands that are in here. We'll discard it. The first seal of the apocalypse is broken. Ooh. What's he doing? I don't get it. Oh, he's ad nauseam. Okay. Yeah, you could pull this out. Ooh, second seal of the apocalypse. Does he get to the third one? There it is! That's awesome. Look at that. Still doesn't have a way, unless he's already got it in hand, of winning. He can, you know, finally get around it, but he's got 9 left to find a win condition. Unless he already has it. Oh, there it is. Okay. So at least now he's got it. That is spectacular, I have to admit. No, I will not be canceling a land. That is spectacular. Look at that. Yep, 1 in the yard, 3 in hand. Not good enough. That is awesome. It is a speed bump at best, and I guess Ant's pretty good at running over speed bumps at 60 miles an hour, so that's the way it works. So that was a fun one. That's kind of a neat, kind of why I like Legacy. You know, you just get some crazy interactions, getting to play with all the fun but non-truly broken stuff. So, anyway, that's a land anywhere down there? Eh,